Welcome back. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine, Skeeter Bass Boats, Suncatcher Pontoons, Godfrey Aqua Patio Pontoons, Hurricane Deck Boats, G3 John Boats, G3 Sportsman Series. You name a boat, they probably carry it at Madisonville Marine. MadMarine.com is where you can learn more. Highway 411 North in Madisonville is where you can see more. They've been doing this thing since 1976. You've got people coming from Georgia. You've got people coming from Middle Tennessee. You're not going to find a better boat deal. That's why I've been telling you for more than 15 years, nearly 20 years now, there is no better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine. All right. Let's talk about a little bit more how college basketball is viewed. I want to compare Auburn's season, which Charles Barkley said was good, not great. By the way, I love Charles Barkley. They need more Charles Barkley on television for anything. Political commentary, football games.
Get this man a
commercials.
podcast.
He's just entertaining. And I hated him as a player. But Auburn, Tennessee, Kentucky. Let's put up the situations. You see their overall records, very similar. You see the highest ranking they achieved this season. You see where they were seeded for the SEC's. That's actually SEC regular season finish. Is what I didn't change my graphic. Sorry. I initially had the tournament seed, but Auburn won the regular season. Tennessee and Kentucky tied for second place. SEC tournament, Auburn went out in the quarterfinals. Tennessee won the thing. Kentucky went out in the semis. NCAA seed 2-3-2, ending round 2 to a 10, round 2 to an 11, round 1 to a 15. Who had the best year? Who had the best year out of that bunch?
I would vote Auburn personally. I think they were riding high all year. They didn't have a lot of the dips. They were
till the end.
Till the end. The funny thing about this is I think Tennessee actually had the most palatable exit of these three. Kentucky, there's an embarrassment factor. Auburn, they got punked. That second half, they looked like a mess. They did quit, and I think you could watch that when you're getting breakaway dunks like that. So I would vote Auburn personally.
I think Auburn gets the best. The ending wasn't good, but I'll vote them the best because they won the SEC. What's the biggest thing? What's the longest competition you got going? The SEC title, the regular season title. They won it. End of story to me. That was, and that's a great year for anybody that wins the SEC in my book. I don't care if it's Kentucky or Arkansas. You win the SEC, you're tops out of a 14-team league. That's a great year for you, and you should enjoy it. I think Auburn's best. David thinks Auburn's best. Who? Everybody agree with that?
I
or no?
Auburn's the best, but one of the least palatable exits, as he made the point. I think that's fair. I think the way they ended the season, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but it's a good season overall.
Well, let's just go ahead and flip it then. Who had the worst?
Kentucky.
Worst season is Kentucky.
That was I got Tennessee and Auburn tied at best. SEC first time since 1979. I'm okay keeping them tied. I think Kentucky is way above with the worst.
What did Kentucky do that anybody's going to remember? Nothing. And I think
lose the
like the St. Peter's
there
thing.
you go. It's all about.
Well, but the St. Peter's thing, I will say the St. Peter's thing, their run probably helps that because there's been a couple teams like Mizzou lost to a 15. 8-9 years ago, and they lost by like 40 in the second round.
Loyola Chicago beating Tennessee didn't look as bad when they went all the way to the final.
It does help a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
Yeah.
It's extremely close, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. And I know what some of our
Worst
listeners.
season of those three? Okay.
No, the best.
Oh,
Tennessee
best.
as the best. And I know what some of our viewers are probably saying.
Homer.
Head to head. So I think it was very close. Obviously, Auburn won the regular season. It was very close. Tennessee won that conference tournament. Auburn was bounced before it. So, and then same for the NCAA tournament. I think Tennessee had a more challenging schedule as well. And, David mentioned the more palatable exit in the NCAA tournament. Super close. I don't think there's a big dip with Kentucky, though. They were the team that had the highest ceiling and what we expected the most out of, and they didn't reach it. So maybe that's why they would be third.
Kentucky fans would tell you theirs was the worst.
Yep.
Because they wouldn't like that St. Peter's.
I mean, there's a lot of people think that's the worst loss in school history.
Yep.
I'm not so sure that I would vote that, but.
It's funny. I was talking to a friend, and I was like, this reminds me when I was a kid and they lost to MTSU. And I looked it up, and it was 40 years to the week that they lost it. And reading, because I went to laugh, I went to the Lexington Herald Leader, and there were a lot of references to worst loss since MTSU. This erases the MTSU loss in '82. It's got to rank up there as one of the worst for that program and just what that program is supposed to be.
And that's the reason I went with the worst, because I too went to the Lexington paper.
Well, here's the thing. the Tennessee Auburn thing, I would give the edge to Auburn. Tennessee did play a better schedule, but when you're talking conference championships,
Right.
doesn't matter. I'll take a regular season title all day and all night over a tournament title. You win 3 games. I mean, congratulations. It's cool to win. Glad that UT got that monkey off their back, but I just think Auburn, if you win the league, you win the league. That's a big thing. All right. It is what it is. If you win the league, you win the league. Smart stuff.
Coach analysis.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you're not going to get that on another show. All right, let's talk a bit more about Vols hoops and the roster next year, and just how overrated was the SEC this year. Can you judge that by this tournament? Come on back.